Hello and welcome to another episode of On Wrist Reaction. My name is Blake Bettner, the managing editor of Morning Wound. That is Patrick.
Hi.
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah, what's it say on the masthead? Media producer.
Media producer, yes. Despite your shirt, this is not brought to you by WatchCrunch, but check out WatchCrunch if you want. We don't care.
Yeah. Start up a discussion on one of these watches.
Yes. We have 3 watches. Well, 4 really. 2 different versions of the same watch. This is a series, by the way. If this is your first time checking out the series, where we give our honest first reaction to watches that we have spent very little time with, or in some cases, maybe it's our first time seeing at all.
All of these.
All of these. So there's a few watches. 2 of these today is my first time seeing these.
Right.
So these will be our God honest reactions, and then we may have reviews, more in-depth stuff coming on some of these watches as needed. I know for sure this one over here. We'll get to that one though. There's one that I want to start with, and that is this Era. A-E-R-A, as you can see on the dial there. So this is a word in Latin, maybe means era or
some trivia
passage of time, something like that. Urban Dictionary, for the record, had a very different definition.
I'm not sure they're aware of that one.
Yes, we'll leave that one out. You can discover that one on your own if you are so inclined. So this is a dive watch. They also make a pilot watch. This has a pretty modern contemporary design language here, which I think is pretty handsome. The open counterweight circle on the second hand.
Yeah, that's fun.
The blue tip, the kind of fat circle in the hour hand there. It's all kind of bubbly. Kind of like light and bubbly feeling. Even the case is like that. Under the bezel has kind of a bowed out appearance to it. Yeah. So this is it's like a 44 millimeter watch, and at the bezel, but it kind of tucks in. I feel like it wears a little bit smaller than that when I briefly put it on my wrist.
Yeah.
But this is not a small watch by any means. It's definitely robust, maybe is the word to use for this thing. It's a lot of watch.
What was the lug you said? Did you say the lug?
Just under 50 millimeters. It's like 49.5.
Yeah, it's definitely veering on that.
It's like 16 millimeters thick. So, maybe not for the faint of heart. Perhaps the most robust element to this entire watch, which we just noticed, is the buckle.
Yes, that's right. Careful with your handshake.
Borderline obscenely large. But I know some people really like big buckles like this, and this is certainly a large one.
Right.
Obviously, the strap you can change, you can put on whatever you want, so that doesn't really matter. I like the rest of the strap. It has this Alcantara feeling to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about this watch?
It's nice. It's nice. It's interesting. It's a dive watch, and so I have thoughts on leather straps on dive watches, but at least they had fitted it to the case, so it looks like it definitely belongs with this case. The side profile is really handsome. I don't know, initially it reminded me of like a Bremont, but with less curved edges.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
A little bit.
That sort of that outward look of the silhouette when you look at it dead on. The hour hand is really fun. It reminds me of one of those birds that that dips its head in the water, like your little desk toy.
Yep, it does.
Before fidget spinners.
It's got a bit of that.
Yeah, it definitely has that vibe.
How many clicks is the bezel?
That's a solid question. I'm afraid to check. It's probably, I'm gonna guess 120.
You're gonna guess 120?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you gonna guess?
I'll guess 60 then. Okay, 120.
There you go. There you go, family.
Well, if that doesn't bother you, this is the D1 automatic 350.
300
meters of.
I got my glasses on today, so I'll do that one.
I don't. Overall, I think it's an interesting looking watch for sure. I think a lot of people like these kind of really large scale. I would say this one is kind of borderline huge, but it's certainly wearable, more so than maybe the numbers would say. So maybe don't put too much stock into just those numbers, because I think there's some well-considered elements to this design going on.
904L stainless steel.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much do these go for?
That's a good question. It is $1,400. You can choose a free strap, but yes, it comes with this smoke gray suede strap.
Oh, okay. So stock smoke gray.
Stock smoke gray, and then you've got options for some other straps. So
it's fun. I like the touches of blue, the 3 locations that are, important for a dive watch, I suppose. The 12 o'clock, the crown, and the seconds hand. Yeah. It's nice. I like it a lot.
Yep, sharp watch. Again, that is the Era, A-E-R-A D1 diver. All right, moving on.
Where do you want to start?
This is maybe a brand we don't talk about all that often. Here, it might come as a surprise. This is a Shinola. This is a hand-wound Shinola watch. It's called, rather fittingly, the Mechanic.
Okay.
Okay, so this has a pretty reminiscent of maybe like a 1940s sports watch, maybe something like a bubble back. It's got a bit of those vibes. And of course, it's got a bit of that kind of Shinola flair and style to it.
For sure.
Which is kind of like that mid-century Americana like look that they have, that they're so good at. And so this is the cream dial. It also comes in, I believe, black and a green. It's 39 millimeters.
Oh.
It's using a blacked out version of the Sellita SW210, I believe.
That is really cool.
So kind of a neat detail there.
Yeah, I wonder why they went with the blacked out look. I mean, it's definitely unique for the watch.
It is, yeah.
The numerals are very, not to throw immediate likeness to them, I'm sure other brands do this, but reminds me of Fair a little bit with like the pops of color you get with their numeral and handset choices. But yeah, this one's really fun. I'm loving this look. The name is great for this watch too, and if you just want to feel like a burly, manly man, then buy a Mechanic. Right.
I mean, it's 39 millimeter hand wound.
Right. Although 39 though is a little, I feel like it's a little under what the.
It's just fine.
Yeah.
Look,
I mean, I like 39. On
yeah,
average,
39. Yeah,
so this is right up my.
No arguments there. And I think the dial reads almost, I don't know, maybe even a little smaller than that.
Yeah, truthfully, and the way that it's domed is honestly one of the key features to me. It just has this bubble effect, like you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah.
Right. It's such a fun look. But back and front, I didn't know it was a display case back until we flipped it just there.
There you go.
But they have the cream and the light blue accents. This crown is really funky too, honestly. And there you go. There's Shinola branding on the side.
Yeah.
That's a really cool crown. And I like a big, chunky crown. When it comes to manually wound watches, if you're going to make me commit to this.
It's a nice crown. It winds, I like it. They've got some nice details going on here, and Chanel is, of course, not one to miss any or to skip a beat when it comes to putting their brand on something, and they've done it like pretty nicely here. Regardless of your thoughts on Shinola or Shinola watches, they're definitely, I think, trying to come in to do new spaces with watches like this, and this one certainly caught our attention.
Yeah, this is so fun. I've always loved this case style. I don't own any like pillow cases like this anymore, but the strap here is really nice too. It's got a lot of character.
It's got kind of like a ribbing. Is that what you call that?
Yeah.
Padding, something like that.
Not too dissimilar to what you might find from the likes of Autodromo, right?
Yeah,
it has that sort of character. It looks like something you'd find in a car.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Yeah, this is a really fun watch. And even at 39, I feel like if you have a smaller wrist, a square case like this, the 39 is going to wear well on you.
Yeah.
And the lug to lug feels short. I would say like 47, 48. Okay. Ooh, okay.
We've got our trusty calipers right here.
Why rely on my guesstimating?
Let's put it to the test here. Okay. So what are we looking at?
When I say 47, right?
Yeah. Well, it's actually 46 and a half.
Okay.
Unofficially, these aren't digital calipers or anything like that. So you're right. It does have a very prominent kind of bubble. It is just under 13 millimeters in thickness. So super fun watch. I like the colors. It's kind of like a baby blue with that light yellow. There's like a
I didn't even notice that. Yeah.
sherbet kind of feeling to it. I don't know, but the numbers, like how they've executed the numbers around the dial, again, yeah, it's a lot of personality here. It's a lot of fun. Of course, it's got Detroit right under Shinola. I think that's part of that lockup. So yeah, overall though, I think this is a perfectly fine watch if you want kind of like an old school style hand wound movement, but don't want to go with, I guess, other people that use this movement, Anordain, Junghans, Christopher Ward. There's no shortage of people that are using it. I think this kind of has its own style.
Right, and it's more accessible too. I mean, there are Shinola stores here in New York. I don't know if you guys have a Shinola department store near you, but I'm assuming that this would be at any one of those stores. So just another thing you can take in while you're checking out their bags. Or
and they have a variety of really cool stuff. Have you ever been in a Shinola store?
I have. That's a cool experience.
So I've only been in the one in Detroit to have one, and not too far from their headquarters, I guess, and they have like a whole strap like workshop thing where you can kind of try on all different kinds of straps there, and it's kind of a fun experience.
Help you personalize.
And they've got all their leather goods and all that kind of business there if you're into that kind of stuff. It's like $1,400.
This one too?
Yeah.
The Era.
The Era.
And the Shinola.
So there you go.
Okay. There's a theme.
There's a theme going on.
I think we're
going to deviate from that just a little bit. This is finally, we are looking at the Tissot chronograph. This is 1938. Is that what I said?
You're probably right.
Yes.
I believe it's a 1938 chrono, is what you had stated off camera. But we'll correct ourselves if we're wrong, though.
Yeah. It's the Tissot telemeter 1938.
Important distinction.
Yes. So the telemeter, obviously, it's got that that dial design that we've seen pop up maybe a few times, I feel like, in the past. The Speedmaster came out with one of these. Longines, I think, just recently did as well. It nails that throwback kind of vibe here from, what would it be? Well, I guess 1938. if the name of the watch is
accurate.
is to be believed. Yeah, this has an automatic Valjoux chronograph inside of it. I like these, like, teardrop shaped pushers for the chronograph.
I feel like that's a hallmark of Tissot. I've not held many of their chronographs, but I've seen images of them, and to my understanding, they use that sort of like elliptical, ellipsy kind of form with their pushers, and it's actually really fun to actuate. Like the action on these are really nice. I'm not gonna lie. The steel dial with the blue accents is really fun. I feel like the black and gold might be the more popular of the two. I've definitely seen a limited edition or a reissue of that. I don't know if it was to this scale.
Okay.
But another personality I remember like loved this watch and like hyped it up quite a bit. But
and you bought into that.
Oh, I bought two of them. I'm still sitting on them. They lost value, but I'm hopeful. No. This is a good opportunity, I suppose, if you wanted to get one of these that's non-limited. I'm assuming this is part of just their standard collection now. But what a fun looking piece. I'm actually quite a fan of the silver dial over the black and gilt. There's just a little bit more character here. Like you've got the cream on the sort of railroad minute track there. You have the blue touch on the very outside, and then you have the red in the center. There's just a lot. It's a whole parade.
Honestly, it's if you care, it's more legible, I would say, as well. There's a lot more. It's like easy to pick up the contrast of the hands, and of course, like the addition of that red color, I think is really sharp.
I just realized how stark.
And the blue.
Is it blued steel?
Blue.
Okay.
Is it?
Because it's really.
It is. Yeah. All right. So
could just be the studio lighting.
You can see it. No, you can see it right there. And when you kind of turn it towards the light, it really kind of pops.
Because just, you know, not in direct light here, it looks blacked out, like the numerals in the handset, which is actually a really cool look. Yeah. But the fact that it's blue steel is even better, and I'm assuming it's actual heat-treated blue steel, if that's a concern of yours, at the price to sew.
Well, let's see here. Yeah, it's this is 42 millimeters. It's just under $2,000. I think it's like 1,900.
Okay, so not too much more for for a real name brand.
A real name brand. So I like the application of that old school Tissot. On there.
It's preferable. I don't really like the newer font choice they go with. The long T is just really handsome. It's really unique to them. But yeah,
would you use the telemeter scale?
Probably not.
Okay, well,
I mean,
but it looks neat.
I mean, it's my understanding that that central scale was the time. Like, if you heard the shot of like a mortar, you could click the timer, and then you'd be able to track when it would land from the sound of it or something.
Yeah,
I don't know
how far away.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm off, but
then you need to know the speed. Well, I guess maybe they all moved at the standard speed that you knew, where they could get in the ballpark.
Once one drops, you'd be able to know, like, get the heck away, I suppose. And or if you were the one shooting it.
All right. Well,
anyway, you're not going to use it for that, hopefully.
If you're going into war, don't rely on us for how to dictate the distance to the nearest mortar fire. We are not experts.
And that could be completely fake history, by the way. I feel like that's what I recall that was functionally for.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, please.
Yeah.
Please.
These are handsome. These are sharp watches. What route are you going here? The Shinola, the Era, the Tissot, all very different watches.
Is it the Era of Era?
Era of Era. Man, I don't know. I like dive watches, honestly. And this is a nice design language that I enjoy. Execution feels a little bit clunky for me, maybe for my wrist. So
I'm honestly a fan of the Shinola.
I was just going to say, would we both land on the Shinola?
How did that happen?
Is that okay? We just lost every viewer that was watching.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
now these
really?
clowns don't know anything.
They don't know.
Yeah, well, this is an interesting watch. We do have the black one dial around here somewhere as well. So we'll get more in-depth thoughts on this one out in a more, I guess, proper review of the watch. We'll spend some time with it.
Yeah.
But for Shinola, maybe it's just like the difference between what you expect from a Shinola and seeing this.
Yeah.
I think there's a certain perception of the brand from kind of watch enthusiast circles, perhaps unfairly, I don't know. But all we can do is give it a fair shake and put that aside.
I'm with you on it.
Judge it on its standard.
I would say between the three of these, which is interesting, that is my favorite. It's the cream and the blue. I think they went with some really cool, playful colors here. And the executions are actually nice. I don't know, like $1,400. My expectations are all over the map now, like with how brands price things, rather.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's fair. If you're a fan of Shinola, you'd probably enjoy this watch. And even even not, like, clearly.
Yeah,
I don't own a Shinola. So.
I don't own anything Shinola,
But maybe now.
Yeah, well, let's not get carried away here. But no, I do think there's a lot to enjoy in this one. If you have any questions, concerns, comments about any of these watches that you would like to know a little bit more, let us know down in the comments. We appreciate it. And thank you for tuning in to this episode of On Wrist Reaction. Patrick, thank you. And Watch Crunch, thank you for
Yeah, right.
Never mind.
Thank you.
All right, until next time, take care. If you enjoy this, please be sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. It helps us out a lot.